and a chest cold open. Greetings, Spikelings. I'm your one and only friend, the 1K Andy who puts the no in Asmoranomardicadaistinaculdacar. Aspiring Spike, and welcome back to my Shark Typhoon. Today we're going to keep tuning, keep cooking, keep winning. So enjoy my spooky living in deck as we beseech for a loving Clothis for more impending trophies. Remember to support the stream with like, sub, follow, comment, gifting bits, buying a Theta plushie from Spikeling Store, and telling a friend to join. Thank you so much. Okay, so we talked about doing this yesterday. Kind of circling back to this sort of Overlord, Sister Supplier, Crypt of Agadeem shell, but trying to fit Beseech the Mirror in the list to cast a Living End. Now, maybe one of the more exciting ways for you to do this is to use Impending for your Overlord on turn 2 or turn 3, put some stuff in the yard, and then on turn 4, sacrifice your Overlord to Beseech, get a Living End, cast it, and then bring your Overlord back, kill all of your opponent's creatures, and then bring back everything that you've been cycling and milling over. That has been really powerful in testing so far. And then the problem, of course, is that you need a few extra ways to have things to sacrifice to bargain. To bargain, you have to sacrifice an artifact, an enchantment, or tokens. So you can sack your Orc Army token, or you can sacrifice the cookbook or a token you make from the cookbook. And this deck is very good at casting Asmo kind of incidentally, because you already want to play Troll and Street Wraith. Why so many Living Ends? Okay. Let's probably not be reading there in the deck tech. But you're very good at casting Asmo with all the discarders. We have 3 Living Ends because we have a lot of self-mill. It's somewhat similar to the regular Living End problem where they're cycling through their deck really quickly, and you're cycling through your deck really quickly. If you just draw, if you're only playing 2 Living Ends and you draw them, it's a big nightmare. Here, I think you have to play 3 Living Ends. We are a deck that's playing Citrus Supplier, sacrificing Citrus Supplier Tower, playing Overlord. You have to play 3. You can discard them too, your cookbooks. You can occasionally suspend them too, but you got to do it. And then when I was testing this deck yesterday, I was actually very impressed with this card, Underworld Cookbook. As it turns out, in your Crypt of Agadeem deck, where you just have 8, 10, 12 mana in like in the mid to late game, you're like your ability to go like play cookbook, sack it, get Asmo, get another cookbook, get back Overlord, cast it is like really, really shockingly good. The return target creature from your graveyard to your hand it ends up being just like a very powerful grindy engine when I won like mini games, just like outgrinding people with this dynamic. In the sideboard, we have a few powerful things to Beseech for 2. We have a Balustrade Spy to grab against the blue Belcher decks. We have a Shatter Assumptions, which can make our Eldrazi opponents discard their whole hand. We have an Ashiok to get against Titan. In addition to, land destruction, Leyline of the Voids. Alright, let's get into it. So I considered playing a single ring, a ring plus Shieldred, but the thing is, it's like, you basically always want to get Living End. Living End is just more powerful than everything else. There are going to be very few, like the main reason you wouldn't want to get this is if your opponent has graveyard hate, and so like maybe you could have like a ring in the sideboard, and then post board if your opponent has graveyard hate, you can Beseech for ring. But let's do that actually. That seems fine. I think game 1 you don't want it. But no, I think that makes sense. You have like life gain with your food tokens. I think it's probably a good card to have in the board. What about if it has Rest in Peace? Well, thankfully the card Rest in Peace is basically non-existent in Modern. Sometimes Domain Zoo plays 1 or 2, but I tell you what, we've been playing a lot of graveyard decks, and there's just not a lot of permanent base graveyard hate. Not a lot of Leylines. I am playing Leyline here today. But there's not a lot of Rest in Peace in Leylines, and very simply put, if come on, if there are a lot of those cards, you probably are playing a different deck. You probably, this is not the deck that's very good against Sanctifier and Vac, Rest in Peace, Leyline. There's probably no need for fun of Inevitable Betrayal. I don't think so, no. Persist Troll Overlord. Persist Troll is pretty shitty, I think. It's not like a line that is very exciting. It's a line you kind of take sometimes because it's just your mana curve, and it's like, and you just kind of, cross your fingers and hope it gets there. As far as also adding cards, I feel like the list is pretty tight. The list is pretty tight. I'm only playing 2 Ovalchase Daredevils. I would like to play some more. I feel like I need to play. I ended up playing the second Cling to Dust too. Cling to Dust has just been so insane. Where you have like so much self mill, so much mana. If you just find a Cling to, like if you just mill over Cling to Dust, draw Cling to Dust, you just kind of like never flood out, which is a pretty big dealio. I'm gonna play One Ring over the second Break the Ice, and we'll get in there in the sideboard. Where do you go Necromancer on the side? I think I'd rather play the tutor targets I am playing. I could see thinking about including it, and I guess Tomio is doing something there too, but you're probably barking up the wrong tree. Is Shatter Assumptions just for Eldrazi? Do I ever use the multicolor mode? I mean, in theory, we could play against a Niv Mizzet deck, but yeah, it's mostly for Eldrazi. Am I excited about watching the Vegas Cube? No, not really. To be honest, I probably won't watch it. Do you think there's any reason to play Blue White over Jeskai? Well, you could get access to like Rest in Peace, but so I guess we're main phasing this Bowmaster, probably. We could theoretically living in next turn. I think I'm just going to block here. Any thoughts to a couple Boggart Trawlers of the Swamps? Well, we have actually 4 Boggart Trawlers in the deck already. They are, in fact, in here. Is Saga being colorless mana and dropping 3 turns not a reason to include it? It's a good card with Beseeching Cookbooks. I think there's a lot of reasons to not include it. Like it's better in this deck. You know, you have Saga tokens, but you know, we're a deck that's trying to resolve a 4-drop. I tend to not love to play. The card in decks that are really resolved around resolving 4-drops, or built around resolving 4-drops rather. And I think Saga is still kind of weak overall. Like the last time I like added Saga to a deck and I really liked it, I was a Archway of Innovation Urza Saga deck, and I thought that build was pretty good. They have 5 cards in their hand. Probably not a good time to just slam Beseech the Mirror. Well, never mind. Now that we have 2, I think we should just slam. I guess I should have attacked for 2 first, though. But it's kind of fun here that our opponent is gonna give us another thing to bargain with if they don't kill the Bowmaster. I'm gonna target the frog here, I guess, because then if they hit me with the frog, they're gonna have to discard a card. They do put 2 cards in the bottom. Oh, no attacks. Okay, that's a dub. Thoughtseize would be nice. Alright, just gonna cast the Daredevil here. I think there's a permanent that can make sense in place of Cash Grab and the Glint's Bloodbraid version of the Omnishift. Well, you can play Invasion of Urgamon and you can play Bitter Reunion, I suppose. Alright, Sheriff Shot, and then they cast a Consider. They keep a card on top, and then they pass back. Yeah, Vessel's Nascency, I suppose. Alright, Flying Frog. Thoughtseize would be the best draw. An Overlord, huh? So what's fun about this Overlord is if they counter it, I can Beseech. And if they don't, I can I could potentially hardcast a Troll, depending on how many cards I mill. I could potentially just cast another Bowmaster. Nice, but we have successfully baited. And then we can even play. I guess I should. I guess I should play my Phyrexian Tower, Crypt of Agadeem, and just leave the tower available, so I don't have to sacrifice this if this gets like force of negation. But I can technically pay for Spell Pierce, which is nice. Yeah, I think I'm still not sacking this. We just win the game if this living end resolves. I don't need to worry about it too much. We probably will lose the game if it doesn't, but nice. Grabbing back an Asmo. I have not discarded anything this turn. We also milled over a living end, which is nice. Feeling pretty good about our spot. Okay. So bring in the ring, because we want to be able to beseech for it post-Graveyard Hate, which is now part of our plan. I played this matchup last night, and I thought about bringing the Leylines versus not bringing them in. I ended up not bringing them in, and I won the match. I think I went down one Street Wraith, one Living End. I'm not sure if I think that's okay if I'm bringing in the ring. Yeah, one ring in the sideboard. Great, another ring deck. All right, gonna mulligan this one land living in hand. I'm kind of tempted by this one on the draw. Having a push for Frog is a big deal. I really don't want to mill to 5. This Thoughtseize is nice. The Overlord is nice. The Asmo is nice. I'm gonna keep. It's kind of fun to match the title Overlord Beseech Living. Yeah, that was the idea, is that the title is the sequence there. Yeah, I think I want to be able to cycle Troll, then cast Asmo next turn, so let's just Thoughtseize here. Frog, Snare, Scolding, Murktide Regent. I'll take the Frog, I think. Zach, after 3 months, go back. What's the idea of the one of one ring? So the idea is that you don't want to main deck the ring in this deck. We actually added it before starting the leagues. We added it this morning. The idea is that you don't want to main deck it. You're basically always going to want to tutor for living end off your Beseech, and you don't really want to raise the mana curve. And like the ring is like not a super good card, but you're basically always going to get living end game 1. And so with that in mind, should I get a Surveillant here? I think I can get it, because I just probably will just play Overlord next turn and get around the Scolding and Snare. Okay, so you basically always want to get living in game 1. In sideboard games, our opponents are going to have hate pieces, they're going to have lock cards, they're going to have answers to... they're going to have... Them drawing the counterspell is tough, because Asmo is my answer to Murktide. They're going to have answers to your living end, like this, and so you could just Beseech for the ring instead, if they have it. Very fun that this dodges, again, Scolding and Snare. Zach again for the 33 months. Welcome back. Not 13 wins yet, garbage deck. Yeah. It's a pretty crazy run. We went with the Arcanist deck, huh? So we know they have a Scolding and a Snare. I'm going to take the Asmo. We have a lot of ways to enable the Asmo, and he just gets around their hand kind of well, if we can enable it. Yeah, the Asmo package is in here because, one, you already want to be playing Street Wraith, Troll of Khazad-dm in your Crypt of Agadeem deck and your living end deck. So, like, those cards already come in. Those cards enable Asmo. The cookbooks also give you, like, a crazy late-game grind ability with the Crypt of Agadeem, which is something I wasn't expecting, but it was pretty pleasantly surprising yesterday. And, okay, if we draw a land here, we're just living end. And... Sorry, there's one more point. And it also gives you fodder for your Beseech. You need to be sacrificing artifacts and tokens. Big money, untap land. Damn it. Hopefully they draw a frog. Their hand is Snare, Scolding, Mystery card. I'm going to be okay to cast the Bowmaster here, because if I resolve Living End, we're good to go. Although, this is a bit of a disappointer. Very good top deck for them. Well, we have a lot of ways to enable Asmo. I've not drawn any of them. Their hand is just a Snare at the moment. This is coming off pretty quickly. They decide not to cycle the Spell Bomb. If we could draw a Wraith, a Troll, a Cookbook to enable Asmo next turn, I'm feeling pretty good. If we draw a land for Beseech, I'm feeling pretty good. Basically everything else is not good, though. Including Ovalchase Daredevil. So now we have to draw untap land. And it can't be a Harbinger. Or, sorry, Boggart Bog. Okay, so this is technically lethal, but we have the push. Although maybe I should push the token if my plan is to Living End, but also then they would just have the frog, so maybe I have to ring. Maybe I just have to concede. Asmo in this Wrath of Skies format. Newsflash! Red alert. We have stopped living in a Wrath of the Skies format. Jeskai Control is now main decking Supreme Verdict and Leyline Binding, and Wrath of Skies is not stock in Jeskai. And Jeskai is also not that popular. And also this deck is not very weak to Wrath of Skies in general. Just Asmo and Cookbook being bad against Wrath of Skies is actually very okay. For whatever that's worth, but Wrath of Skies right now is not very common. The meta has changed. Basically, with Boros implementing the ring, Jeskai needed to adjust its mana base to be more of Prismatic and being Leyline Binding, and then with Dimir being very popular, Supreme Verdict's uncounterability is really important in that matchup, otherwise that matchup is very tough for Jeskai. But yeah, but also this deck is not weak to Wrath of Skies, I'll say. I would say this is not one I'd be too worried about. Yeah, have to subscribe for the rest of your life. I'm going to mulligan with no enabler for Asmo and the Living End in the opener. Oh boy, I would hate to go to 5. My opponent has kept 7. Alright, I'm going to keep. A little bit greedy, but I just like being a multi 5 on the play is just so tough in this matchup. We do find a land. Also, although this is kind of like already a multi 5. But I might suspend this Living End too. Also, turn 2 Overlord on the play is actually pretty good because they just can't counter it, and then it's gonna get me there eventually, probably. I mean, it is already 5, but it is a very good. It's like a pretty good 5, I would think. Maybe they have a subtlety with that pause, huh? We build over an Ovalchase Daredevil. This Asmo would be very nice. I took it last time, and I never drew a discard outlet for it. I think it's just a bit too much card advantage on my mulligan to not take, and I have, 3 more Wraiths, 3 more Trolls, 4 Cookbooks I can top deck to all unlock this. And I guess even technically Overlord to buy back one of these. So you were trying the Delirium Double Strike spell in Delirium. Do you think it would be good in Red-Green Prowess? Maybe. Maybe. Probably worth testing. Okay, there's a little frog. Got some very good top decks here. Not really one of them. Hopefully no Force of Negation. Crypt of Agadeem would be really nice. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is Asmo good in the energy metagame? Yeah, I've been kind of liking Asmo. We milled over a Cling to Dust, which is nice. I've been kind of liking Asmo. It's good against Dimir in general. Not taking on top land seems like a mistake. I hear you for sure. I'm on a multi 5 on the play against the 1-for-1 deck in the matchup where my opponent's on Scolding and Snare, and Asmo is just very, very powerful. And I can cast every card in my hand. I guess I've already said all this, but this is my reasoning for taking the line I took. I think in spots like this, when you're in a bad position, you've mulled to 6 on the play against Dimir, you have a living end in your hand, which is it's kind of like a mulligan to 5. You need to take the higher upside line instead of taking the safer line really often. I think it is generally good to take the higher upside line in these spots. Omega Phoenix, the 28 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Might be hard casting their subtlety here. Seemed like they thought about it and then decided against it. So I'm definitely going to attack before casting any creatures. Oh, baby. Talk about a high upside. Let them maybe block first. I think if I cast this probably gets countered, but I think that's also most likely okay. They probably will tap out for Murktide this turn. This is also ticking down pretty quick. This is tapping for 7 mana. I'm not reading Crypt of Agadeem, maybe. Do you have time for a deck tech to help me decide on a deck for the Secret Lair event in Vegas? You got the channel point, sure, yeah. Alright, 7 mana. I'm going to start off by playing Stitcher Supplier. My opponent might be itching to play a Subtlety. Now, I have the feeling that if I play my Bowmaster this turn, they will hardcast a Subtlety. So I think I'm actually just going to suspend Living End and pass the turn. Okay, deck tech for Engineer. Jeskai Scam, okay. Okay, my hot take is that Null Drifter is bad in this deck, but Consigned to Memory is good. That's my hot take for this archetype, is that people have recognized that Consign plus Flage plus Ring plus in the format is good, and then they're like, okay, I'll also just play 4 Null Drifter, 4 Dress Down. And I think these decks would be much better if you just cut these cards and you played... okay, this has been bounced to my hand, which is fine. I'll just hardcast it now. I think this deck would be better if you just cut these cards. You could maybe play like 1 Dress Down. You could maybe play 1 Null Drifter. I think the deck would be better if you didn't. And if you played like 3rd Verdict, 4 Leyline Binding, maybe 3rd Snare, although with the Consigns, maybe that's not as correct. You could play 3rd Force of Negation. But it's I just am not I've not been impressed by Null Drifter Consign. It's kind of good in the mirror, and I do kind of sometimes goof on Jeskai players for only liking to make like deck building decisions that are good in the mirror for whatever that's worth. Speaking of the mirror, so killing this is like a little bit bad because if I do resolve my Living End, all of a sudden, they just get it back. But I have a Wraith, a Troll, a Trawler, a Daredevil, another Bowmaster, 3 Bowmasters, another Trawler, and presumably I'll have this Overlord too. But they don't have blue up, so we're slamming. They do have the Force of Negation, so we keep battling. They have a 7/7 Murktide Regent. I have a billion mana and a Cling to Dust. Although if they have another Bowmaster here, it's very awkward. And they put me to 14, so this is just a clean 2-turn clock, but the Cling to Dust can probably gain life if they don't have another Force of Negation. So if I block here, another top deck Beseech is not online, which kind of stinks, but I think I'm going to make this block anyways. Yeah, 2 counters on the living end here. So yeah, it's possible what I should be doing is just gaining life off the Cling this turn and then setting up for this. Them having 2 cards in their hand. Let me see what we draw, of course. Another copy of Overlord. Okay, so let's go ahead and go 9 mana, just 5 mana cast this, I think. When I cast this before activating our other crypt, of course. So they do have the subtlety. And they have 2 creatures in their graveyard. So it seems like I should just put this on top, activate my crypt, and then Cling to Dust twice, exiling both of their creatures. Which also makes the living end better, which is kind of funny. Okay, exile Beseech, Sewers, Beseech, and then I'm gonna have to exile 2 creatures. Let's do. So there's a push. So only 1 creature, probably a Trawler. Okay, so I'm at 13. They have 1 card in their hand. I don't want to attack with a Supplier because then I have to mill over my Overlord. And so I think I want to have access to the Overlord next turn if their last card isn't a counter. That's true, we could just Beseech for mana if we drew it. Okay, so we're going to take 10, go down to 3. And y'all said this was a mulligan to 5. Start off with an attack, I guess. Don't think we have the luxury of hard casting this anymore. We're gonna need our mana. Okay, thankfully I still have 1 cookbook left in the deck. Well, I guess I should have taken a little bit more time to look at what was left in the deck. So I have 11 mana here. So if I go sack a food token, Cling, exile 2 creatures, which I don't know if I can. But if I could, would that stabilize me? I would go up, gain 9 up to 12, and then my opponent would have an attack for 10. Wraith for Beseech. I died a Bowmaster if I do that. 12 mana. I guess with 12 mana, I just have 2 looks for Beseech. I guess I should just do that. Right, I have 3 Beseeches or 2 Beseeches. Wait. I have 0? In my exile zone, I have 4 Beseeches. Guess I milled them all over. I also don't have my ring anymore either. So I guess we're cooked, unfortunately. Close one. I think I can technically live this turn. At the cost of exiling my entire graveyard. Maybe if I had enough mana to like have hard cast this Overlord, then we would potentially be attacking for lethal. We'd potentially be refilling the yard, but we're like 3 mana short. And I don't even have like any more cookbooks in the deck either. Ugh, such a tough draw. Still very close, despite like the kind of awkward mulligan and the awkward mills. Maybe my opponent would like sometimes cast a Preordain on accident. Kind of copium. Maybe I have some series that gets me out of this that I'm not seeing. I don't think so, though. Yo, back it in. GG. Alright, definitely keeping this on the play. I think we lead on the Surveil land here. Triple tap land, always a little awkward. I think we got to keep that one. Depending on how good our mills are, we may hardcast that. I want to register a Hornet Queen deck. Why? I would just further reach. I mean, you probably win against Dimir if you resolve it. Oh, Dimir again. All right, start off with a Thoughtseize. Redemption time. We did win game 1. Oh, but they're Dimir Gorios. You put Preordain in the graveyard with this hand? I mean, how can I not just take this? I assume it's lower power level consistency is why you're running Thoughtseize against Therapist, a playable alternative. No, playable. Cabal Therapist is completely unplayable. You may not notice about Cabal Therapist, but that card actually doesn't do anything until turn 3. There is no situation where you should find yourself registering Cabal Therapist. I want to main phase this, then they have to push it, and then my creature card count gets higher, and then if they don't draw land, they're not going to be able to also Indulgence. Yeah, you may not know this, but that card does nothing until turn 3, unless you have an Ornithopter or Midnight in your deck. Okay, let's see how many creatures we mill, but I don't think... Yeah, there's not really any way we can hardcast the Overlord. We do mill an Ovalchase Daredevil. I'm just thinking if I want to... I mean, I really want to hardcast the Overlord. I'm just going to go... Cookbook here. Don't you just sack it to itself? I guess is that I guess you can is that sounds really bad, but I suppose that's a legal line, right? Overlord's Resurgent Belief deck sounds like it could work. Maybe. Play 1 Ask for Toll to cast Living Ends from your hand. Well, we do have a blue land in the deck, huh? Play a Watery Grave too. Might be okay. Empty Nest for the 2 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. So with the cookbook, I can have 3 creatures in my yard here. Okay. Maybe this is a little risky because if I just don't hit a black creature, it's bad, but it seems very unlikely. Okay, so in response to this, we'll activate our Crypts. And then we can go Overlord into Asmo into Cookbook. They may force a negation in the Cookbook, but that would be okay because our Asmo can kill one of their creatures here. We could also grab Bowmaster, which is very good against their hand of the Indulgences. I think I'm going to go for the Asmo instead. They discard Gristlebrand, and they do have Gorios in their hand. Although if we had gotten the Bowmaster, they would have just pushed that instead. We should be able to Asmo kill Gristlebrand next turn. Oh, I guess not because of the stupid Force of Negation, huh? We'll see if they can keep the Gristlebrand around. So taking 7, they're gaining 7. They're going to draw 7, flip the Tamiyo. There's a road where you use Tower plus Buried Alive and bidding cards like Archon. Is that too cute? I mean, we've played basically that deck, yeah. It is kind of cute, I guess. I don't know. We should maybe stop calling uh weaker interactions cute. I don't know. It doesn't sound that exciting, I'll say. So we didn't mill. I guess we milled an Overlord, but we can't get back Overlord with this. We could get it back with a cookbook. I have 7 mana plus a bunch of cookbooks. Only 1 Bowmaster, which I can get back at instant speed. See if the Tamiyo dies. So I'm going to discard the Daredevil, then I'm going to respond to the trigger here and just make 12 mana. Cast a Trawler. See if that resolves. I think, well, they just probably have a push. Maybe I should just get another Overlord here. Grab Overlord. Cast Overlord, cast Asmo. They have a Cling. Okay, they have a Cling. Yeah, so I guess now I just get back Asmo, cast Asmo. The cook, yeah, this is what I was talking about in the deck tech too. In my experience testing, the cookbooks just like are very grindy in this deck with the Crypt of Agadeem. Oh, I don't have. I thought I had one more. It's fine though. So they main phase Indulgence, discard Force of Negation, not particularly powerful. How's the comparison between Arcanist and Raptor? It's pretty close. I feel like I like Arcanist more. It gives you better plan against Boros. It gives you a bit more like thoughtful, like planned out turns rather than just hoping to hit off Raptor. Raptor had, I think, less good hits than you would typically want, but it's definitely a conversation, and I don't think it's super clear what the best one is. Okay, I hit a Cling to Dust, which is nice. I think we just hold up mana. Could potentially cast 2 Bowmasters here. Okay, going to game 2. I don't know if I want Ashiok against them. I do want the Fatal Push. I guess we maybe just cut the entire Living End plan against this Goryo's deck. Not sure how possible that is. It seems doable. They also have Force of Negation too, so I'm not like super enthused. I don't know if I want to play Fulminator Mage, like 1 Fulminator Mage or 2 to like buy back with Overlord. Seems not really where we want to be. That's an Upa Mask on the board. Is that a real suggestion? I don't know what that card does. All right, beautiful hand. If a player would draw a card, the player exiles a card face up instead. Each player may play lands and cast spells from among the cards exiled with Upa Mask this turn. Okay. I have no thoughts on that one. My opponent loves to keep 1-landers. Uga Mask is a trap. Is it? It's like the worst trap ever. I'm not like interested in building around that card at all. A trap is something that you like, maybe I should build around this. I don't want to build around that card. They've been to Gristlebrand, so the Leyline's doing some work. We've been Ovalchase Daredevil. It's pretty crazy. I'm just gonna main phase this though. Okay, they found land number 2. Explosives on 0. Number 5 down to 9. I guess I don't know. They could just wait on my turn and still kill this food. Just a deluge. Right, they're at 3. I mean, it is definitely Daredevil time, I tell you what. Yeah, I'm just gonna wait till I draw a land for the Overlord hardcast, which these Fatal Push decks have a pretty hard time with. Okay, they also have Thoughtseize. Probably taking my push. I've already talked about Saga. Yeah, I've said that I would not be very interested in playing it. I recommend not registering it in this deck. You got hit by Breakout FOMO. Breakout FOMO was kind of interesting. It's not very good in like the Jund Delirium Shell. You'd have to be just way more creature focused. My moto keeps crashing. An idea what it could be, how to solve it? I'm not sure. The opponent is in the tank. Presumably thinking about discarding 1 card versus 3. They discarded Goryo's Vengeance. That makes sense. If they just trade, we'll just hardcast the Overlord. If they discard 2 more cards, then I'm going to go impending the Overlord, get back Asmo, discard Leyline to get back Daredevil, kill the frog. Because your opponent can like just on our turn crack the explosives. We'll just, get through this by cracking it there. Couldn't you have done that first and swung for lethal? Couldn't you have done that first and swung for lethal? Yeah. Do think we'll probably get this one anyways, though. In this deck, is it a close decision between some fetches and basics, or is it clearly all basics? Yeah, I mean, I think you could play. You could play like 1 less basic, 1 more fetch, 2 less basic, 2 more fetch. I think you probably want to have at least 5 swamps. And having more basics also makes you just like a lot better against Moon in a deck that's trying to play triple black. Higher life total does matter. Being able to fetch your 1 of Surveilland also matters. But I think it's just probably better to not play real fetches here. Saying it could be anything. With 3 cyclers. We have a living in the opener. I think I'm just going to mulligan. Keep this with that second troll, probably. Up against an Eldrazi build. Maybe we can shatter some assumptions about this matchup. They exile a Ring, an Ulamog, and an Emrakul. So this is probably the Through the Breach deck. Probably not something y'all need me to say. Nice to have a Beseech. Definitely gonna take their Kozilek's command. See if they just immediately rip a land for this micro spawn, of course. At least they're not kicking it. Sorry. I've been getting so many spam calls. What's up? What's up? Great. So next turn we can go Overlord, get back Troll, cycle Troll again if we don't draw a land for turn. But I would prefer to draw a land for turn so we can play this other Supplier and get that in. My opponent does draw a land for turn. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, they'll probably go... Yeah, I guess we're just going to jump for sure. They're probably going to put Overlord into their hand, which is a little bit obnoxious because my... Or if they put Devour in their hand because my Overlord is kind of my only thing here. Okay, so now what I can do is I can just play my Crypt of Agadeem tapped, and then next turn I can just impending then Beseech. So we need to dodge like a top deck through the breach or Kozilek's command potentially. Command might be beatable though. Hopefully they just cast the Devour on the Supplier. That would be the dream. We have a swamp. Yeah, I'm talking about drawing the fourth land, which we did do. Thanks, Goody. Yeah, I definitely am having more fun like the last like 3 or 4 days than I had been having the like last week. But just, you know, part of the ebb and the flow. Yeah, Michael spawn on the Crypt would have been pretty bad too. All right, so we go impending. This is literally the stream title, huh? Any Street Wraiths? No Wraiths. I guess we say no. Oh, I have to return one. Stack the trigger so that we mill more with our Supplier before we trigger our Overlord. Not too shabby. I think we're even beating Emrakul through the breach. I don't know if we're beating Ulamog through the breach. Probably not. They would have to have a land to through the breach this Ulamog, though. Nice. So up a game. I'm going to bring my Shatter Assumptions. I'm going to bring in my Fulminators, my Break the Ice. Probably cutting a Cling to Dust. The cookbook Asmo plan is not, like, we're not going to be making too many foods and killing too much stuff. Maybe play one Daredevil. I think we can cut one. Not sure what else. It's possible we should board out the combo. Like, we could board out the living ends, and I could just play a ring, and I could play a Shatter Assumptions, and I could be like, I can Beseech just for Shatter or ring. I think that makes some sense with me expecting that my opponent is going to be boarding in a lot of graveyard hate. So, yeah, let's maybe also just go down on Suppliers. Trim Asmos. I mean, you could. I think I'm going to do this. Just try to kind of juke the graveyard hate a little bit. Do you Bowmaster? I mean, my opponent is playing 4 copies of the ring in their deck. I think I'm going to play the Bowmasters. I saw a sideboard playing on Twitter the other day. Not trying to like dunk or anything, but I saw a sideboard playing on Twitter the other day of someone who was doing a sideboard guide for Dimir Frog, and they were cutting 2 Bowmasters against Boros, but like... And the idea is that it's like bad with your sweepers, but boys, you just don't cut Bowmaster against the ring decks. So they find a Thought Not Seer. Well, maybe it's a little bit of a race to see if they can Thought Not my Shatter Assumptions before I can Shatter Assumptions their Thought Not Seer. Stock Breach doesn't play Graveyard Hate outside of Gate Command. I was kind of thinking that this would be not Stock Breach anymore because Breach had kind of fallen off. I would like potentially somewhat expect I should have kept in one Living End, by the way. Although I think they might Stonebrain my Living Ends. Breach has just kind of been gone, it feels, and so I'm just kind of expecting to see something new, you know. Alright, I'm going to grab a Bowmaster so I'm better against the ring. Yeah, maybe a Bog off the Mycospawn. Trinisphere. Well, I don't really care about that with me having Crypt of Agadeem going. Shatter Assumptions. Discard all colorless non-land cards, please. And thank you. That's their whole hand. Worldbreaker, Devourer, Thought Not Seer. -1 hand for our opponent. They do still have the Stonebrain. It'd be very funny if they named Living End. They say brother. Yeah, I think Shatter Assumption's a little bit underplayed, sideboard card. Why you gotta cook these things up? Living End, Living End, Living End, Living End. Name it. Say it. Say it. No, you can't even say this. You can't even say Asmoranomardicadaistinaculdacar. You have Chalice on 0. Like, it's literally just a dead draw on my deck right now. Crypt of No Archon. Yeah, we're in on Living End this time. The idea is that we're beseeching for Living End, and that's our big powerful finisher. I think it's been better than our other builds, by the way. Yeah, like I don't have any way to get rid of this Chalice, so the Asmos were basically dead draws. You skip like 4 syllables? Nah, come on. Asmoranomardicadaistinaculdacar. I'm pretty sure that's it. At least give me some credit for the effort, huh? Actually, yesterday in testing, I beseeched for a Thoughtseize to win a game against. I don't think it was Eldrazi. I can't remember what the matchup was. It was Titan. And they get infinite powered now, and then they get infinite wide powered next turn off the Saga. So I think I have to draw exactly Phyrexian Tower. If I draw Phyrexian Tower, I could Cookbook Living End here. Basimphil's Bust. So they just have second Ballista. No, we're just dead. Dang, their top decks were crazy. All right, 2 and 2. We do have 2 lands here. I'm going to go ahead and keep this. We're on the play against Gigantha. I think I'm just going to turn 1 Asmo. Now, this deck should, in theory, chew up energy. Like Living End has just got to be so crazy against them. So hopefully that's what we're playing against. If a mod could let me know when they refund 00260's deck tech, please let me know. Thank you. Take the cookbook. Not too surprising, I guess. Another Crypt of Agadeem. A Johnny, Ocelot Pride, Static Prison, and the One Ring. I think I'm just taking the ring. Thanks, Last God. Yeah, I've been really, really wanting to play the Whale lately. So this turn I can go like Bowmaster the token. Let me Swamp Cycle first. And then if they flip the Asmo, or if they flip the Ajani, I just get to kill it so they won't flip it. And they're down to 8. Mardu is so much more painful than Boros. They're shocked again? Guess they had to. This is obviously not so good for me. So let's try to surveil for something good next turn. That at least makes my Crypt tap for more mana. Brant with the 31 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. Why is it Johnny a May? Yeah, I don't know. Tomio's not a May. Sorin, I don't think is a May. Although Sorin, you have, you know, some control for whatever that's worth. Phone started playing something. I think we're taking 4 and top decking a Beseech the Mirror. I guess I don't have enough mana to sack a food and cast the Daredevil. I think that's going to be okay. Do you think Basilisk Collar might be better than Shadow Spear in these Ballistic Collar decks? Is Collar 1 or 2 mana to equip? I can never remember. I think it's 2 mana to equip. Yeah, I don't know. It could be like worth messing around with again. Yeah, 2 mana to equip though is pretty tough. I do miss those decks. Those decks are pretty dang fun. Is Saga not good enough deck? I really don't. I hate Saga in these kind of decks. I really discourage you from just like playing Saga in this kind of deck. It ain't the card it used to be, and I don't know if it was like even ever super good in this kind of shell. There's some decks Saga's still good in, and this doesn't really strike me as one of them. 7, yeah, we're alive here. 7, 8, 9, 10. So I block 1. I'm dead to a bolt unless I guess I could double block the Ajani. I don't know if this gives me like sequences to live or anything. Is Awakening over Basic Swamp worth including? I think the Basic Swamps are just really good. They don't cost you 3 life, and there's like the most popular deck in the format is main decking a bunch of Blood Moons. Yeah, I agree. You really have to just get combo pieces with your sagas. All right, so if we don't draw Beseech the Mirror, we can maybe get back Street Wraith with Cookbook and just cycle it for a second look. We do have a lot of mana here. Let's go, baby! That is what I'm talking about. Fuck yeah. Just thinking if I want to have this Daredevil in play. I think I actually don't. They do still have their Ajani. But being able to cast Agadeem's Awakening for a lot does sound kind of fun. I don't know. You might be onto something. Why not sack Bowmaster get back? You can only sack tokens, artifacts, or enchantments. think actually I can get the Bowmaster back next turn probably. I'm just gonna cast this to try to fill up the yard for these crypts a little bit. Yeah, they'll be mana positive if I like respond to the Daredevil trigger or if anything dies, of course. Here though, let's just go send this at a Johnny, send this at them, at them. Don't want to send the 3/1 into the first striker. Shout out Swamp Walk. We need Archons like 2. I kind of honestly don't know how you watch this game and feel and come to the conclusion that we need Archon of Cruelty in this deck. This will win you the game, and you don't need to play 8 drops. I mean, you can cast Archon. Archon's not bad in the deck. We just have this as our top end of the curve. I don't feel like we need to also play Archon. Yeah, like we had top decked Archon in that like other game, it wasn't going to win us the game too. I'm trimming Thoughtseize number 4. Wraith number 4. Yeah, like with no persist in this build, it just doesn't feel like an Archon build to me. My opponent's on a mulligan to 6. I don't love this hand, but I'm going to keep. Where did land on a Raptor versus Dreadhorde? I think I like Dreadhorde a little bit more. It was very close on like situations where they would be better, like and even in these spots, it was like incredibly marginal. But Dreadhorde just like lets you plan your turns a lot better. It's better with your Pyroclasm planning against the energy decks, which matters a lot. Ruby Tuesday with the 14 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. Yeah, Grief would be pretty insane in these decks. So probably gonna just get a Surveil land and play it next turn. Hopefully, they have a lot of bricks here. Yeah, they brick on the by hitting the ring. Looks like they mulliganed also. Yeah, they mulliganed to 6. We don't have anything to bargain yet. I think we can keep it though. We're not exactly very far away from our crypts being super online. Like if they like play Flage this turn, we can Trawler the graveyard. I think we'll play a Trawler anyways. And obviously, you know, the living in plan seems pretty good against them. Good chance this just dies and then our crypt is more online. Yep. They're just jumping the Amped Raptor. Or one of the creatures, I guess. So this is going to hit me for 6 down to 12. Drawing another Beseech would be very funny, because then we would just tutor for like a cookbook here. So I cycle this to go down to 10. I take a damage from the Orc army. They have 5, 6, 7, 8 points of damage. I'm at 10. But I can play a Trawler to block. I think I do need to cycle this. It also helps my crypt. Oh, I drew a second copy. I guess we just cast this. I did trim a Street Wraith. Am I dead to this? 7. Not quite. Yes. Is top card something that would let me living end? Guess we'll never know. Sometimes Magic Online just lags out when you check. Okay, going to game 3. Get on the play. I'm on the idea of a heavier blue splash, which is, I mean, honestly very difficult to splash blue heavier, but for a blue-black 1/1, 2 mana 1 toughness creature is not very good usually. Tap, draw a card, discard a card, becomes a copy of target creature. Yeah, I don't know. Not very into the 2 mana 1 toughness creatures. So I'm going to keep this, put back Cling to Dust. I'm going to go turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 2 Troll Asmo, turn 3 Crypt Overlord probably. And then I like this curve, so I think we're just going to take this Thoughtseize. Is there a reason why elementals would be good against the current field? Ah, the Thoughtseize bug. I don't know. I guess I've seen some people playing elementals lately. If that's what you're talking about. Are you like is that like the deck you like to play and you're looking for a reason or? Kind of hope they static prison. Nice. Good chance this is just going to come back. Ooh, that is a great top deck. Although, unfortunately, I didn't mill any other creatures, making the top deck a little bit weaker. I also milled 2 Beseeches, which also a little awkward. Challenge been recently as all seems bad as I thought. I see. I'm not sure. Then there's Bowmaster, Arena of Glory, Mystery card. So let's go supplying. Now we have 3. Now we have 4. I think I'll just put that in the graveyard here. With the intentions of chump blocking the Ajani if it attacks, not the cat token. Filling up the yard a lot, and then potentially using the cookbook to grab something back and cast it next turn. Maybe Overlord, maybe Asmo. This ticks down to 0 energy. My opponent's hand is Arena of Glory, Orcish Bowmaster, Mystery card. They could use the Bowmaster to flip a Johnny if they so chose. They play the Arena of Glory. And then now they have found a Guide of Souls to keep the energy flowing for their static prison. I'm going to stick to this plan, I guess. Now I have 8 creatures in my graveyard, 9 mana, which is enough for me to sack Cookbook, get back Overlord, cast Overlord. Fortunately, again, I only have 2 Beseeches left, but that would also be pretty nice. So this is mana positive, actually. And this actually lets me also cast Asmo here, which is fun. So now I go 9 mana, Cookbook back Overlord. I'm glad to get to show this off today, too, because this was like so fun in my testing last night. Grab Asmo, cast Asmo. Hitting this Cling to Dust is a really big deal, too, with all this mana. Your turn. Leyline Resonance Emergency Ban and Standard. Why couldn't they do with Nadu? I mean, I'll say this. It is a good thing that they emergency ban something they feel like they need emergency ban. If you want to link the announcement, I'd love to take a look to it, look at it. But that is a good thing. They should be emergency banning stuff. That is a good thing. It seems hopefully they have learned their lesson, and they will kind of circle back to doing that more. But simply put, I think it's good to ban things when you need to ban things. It's only in best of 1. I see. I mean, I think I really have a feeling that the arena team is like separate from like the regular play design team. But that's a good thing. That's a good thing that happened. We should encourage and support the emergency bans, the bans as needed. Okay, let's send these both in at a Johnny. I'm gonna grab a Bowmaster of my own here. I have 12, 13 mana. Yeah, I would kind of love for this double block to happen, obviously, too, because I have the extra Asmo in my hand. Now, I don't have an Ovalchase Daredevil near, do I? Yeah, no, I don't. Like tiny bit worried about decking myself, but I think we'll be okay. Let's see if I mill Ovalchase Daredevil with this trigger. Not quite that lucky. So we'll just go Bowmaster. Oh, we're getting Asmo back from the Static Prison, I just noticed. Good thing I didn't cast it. We still have 2 Beseeches in the deck, too. And they concede. Nice. Okay, so 3-2 our first league here. Lost to Scales, lost to Dimir Frog in a close one. Beat Energy, beat Eldrazi, and then beat Goryo's. Let's run it back. Should have time for one more, and then probably also the backup deck today.